I had to go through the purchasing department
Okay.
for a piece, and it
How
was
much is it?
finally approved. But the
How much does that
manager,
cost?
well, it is the yearly maintenance is about it's about $10,000 per employee, like annually. But the
Right.
very first year to set up the software, to provide training for us and all that SAS stuff is about 25,000. But after that, it's about 10,000 a year. But
But
it's going
let's
to
say,
save so much headache.
either you got fired or you quit the job or married some rich guy and took off. Does the next person have to be trained? Will they have to pay them $10,000 to be trained?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I think if they have experience, they would have. I mean, it is so standard. I just wasn't. I mean, I went through 5 years of receiving a no when I asked for an increase in my budget. 5 years. But what I did was, I didn't ask the manager this time. I actually asked the commissioners, and then so the commissioners advocated for me, and so it was strategic because I just knew that I wasn't going to get a yes. And so I slowly, over the last year, convinced commissioners like either 101 or 102, like this is what's important and this will help me tremendously. And so they start bringing it up with the manager. So he kind of had to be on board and entertain the idea. And
Okay.
so he actually approved a maintenance budget because we thought it
Okay.
was going to be approved in June, but the
Okay.
purchasing process is so slow. So they put in, I think, 17,000 just for the maintenance. It's a little bit less because it's $20,000 for two staff, and actually I have three staff, me and two others. But I'm not arguing. I'm going to take what I can get, and then if it's
Wait a minute.
approved,
Are the other two full-time analysts?
well, I have two vacancies. I'm by myself now.
Right. So right now you have no analyst, right?
No, no analyst.
And but last time when we spoke, you said you were going to have no interns till as of 2 weeks ago. But yesterday, I think you now have one intern, right?
Well, no, I actually invited her to be a part of the meeting because I
Okay.
wanted to brag on her. She has
Okay.
been a tremendous help, and I said, you don't have to stay on the meeting, but can you just log
Okay.
on and then let me brag on you? And I said, if you want to roll off, that's fine with me.
Okay.
So I
Well,
think she's on it for about 5 minutes.
oh, okay. Okay. So let's quickly, since we have time and we are lucky enough to be have this private room to ourselves and nobody
I
else
know
is
it.
there. What is the main reason the audits, once they are approved, what is the main reason it's taking longer? Is because you don't have that one assistant, or a software, or is it only because because generally you said other than the HR person, the department heads have been very supportive, right?
For the most part, I can't complain for the most part. But I'll be honest with you, Nate. Okay, so it's a couple of things. There, it takes a long time to be a really good analyst. I mean, I think some of the people that filled that position, had been long-term employees and they thought that was good enough. But
Mhm.
what happened is they just didn't understand analyst work. And so it just didn't turn out well. Their skills were not adequate to conduct, complete the job. And it
Mhm.
caused some consternation and frustration on both sides. And so that's, like there, and I was surprised that no one, I've had two so far, no one is interested in learning. Like I offered to send them to training, webinars, and all that stuff, and they just was kind of lackluster about it. The attitude was like, uh. And so that's one aspect, the
No, no, wait a minute. Who are you talking about sending for to training?
my
Uh,
analysts, like I've had two in the last 5 years, and
right.
they
Okay.
both had the same attitude. So in the interview, they kind of oversold their skills.
Everyone does.
And so
Okay.
they weren't capable, they couldn't conduct the job. And what I found myself spending a tremendous amount of time I would spend all day correcting their work. And so I will share
Okay.
that one particular year, I think it was 2016 and 17, I worked 1,500 hours of overtime. 1,500 hours because
That's a
I
lot.
couldn't do
That's
my
like
own work
working every Saturday and Sunday full
every
time.
Saturday. And I was here to 11 o'clock every night. I mean, I couldn't even start my work until about 4:30 because I am proofing and I would try to coach and I would try to offer. But most of the people that worked for me were a little bit older and they just really weren't open. And I just, I kind of,
Okay, now, did you fire them or did they quit on their own?
I kind of think they just, I mean, both of them quit on their own. I
Okay,
just
but when you
think
were having issues, could you have fired them, or who has the final responsibility of firing the people who work in your unit?
I mean, I could initiate it if I wanted to. I could have. Don't get me wrong.
Okay, no, I'm more interested to know who has the authority: the mayor and the commission, the manager, you.
No,
Who
they
has
have
that?
they have the authority over me because I'm on contract, but I have the authority over my staff.
Okay, are they on regular full-time employees or were they like annual
Yes,
year
yes,
contract?
sir. They are.
Full-time employees. Okay, so
So, for an example, one employee became so combative and irrational and would make some drastic
okay,
comments and
I
decisions.
understand.
I thought she was going to pull a gun on me.
I understand. I understand. So, okay. So, but they were not on contract. They were on annual thing. Did any of them move to other areas of the managers of the city department, or did they
They
move?
did. Both of them went to different departments.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so another area that slows us down significantly is the audit committee chooses departmental audits. I mean, for example, the sheriff's office audit took a little over a year. I mean,
Right.
in order to do a good job and we're short, I mean, 3 people is not enough. But in order to do a decent job in an entire department with almost 150 people, it's going to take that long. And so I have been indirectly trying to convince them to look at those 117 areas, like focus on those areas, because that would narrow your attention, and then action can take place more deliberately, and I can complete it faster. It's just small bites, and I don't know if I don't know if I'm convincing yet, but I mean that's a major issue. Just department audits are tough,
Yeah. Well, let me
and they
ask
don't
you,
really care
who
about some aspects of the
yeah,
department.
who approved the department audit? I mean, I'm sure the mayor and commission did eventually, but I mean, who approved the scope of the audit? The mayor and commission did, right? Is that how you presented it the
So the
first time?
audit committee makes the recommendation. So I
Right,
do
right.
all the research in advance of the meeting. So they say we are interested in these 2 or 3 or 4 departments. And so what I like to do is meet with the directors and find out. And I would tell them up front, say, you're under consideration for an audit, but I want to take the time to talk to you directly and I want to learn from you. What are
No, no,
some of your
Stephanie, what I'm
challenges?
trying to get at is how did it first occur to you that the full department should be audited? What was the data that, I mean, why not certain functions of the sheriff's department? Why the full department audit? What made you to start looking and considering that?
That's the audit committee's call.
Okay, so they came up with it. They were the
They
one who
make they
said,
make the decision. I don't have a vote, but I wish I did.
okay. No, no, no. What I'm asking is the scope of it was the entirely the audit committee came up with it, and not based on any feedback or any initial survey you did with the sheriff's department. Am I correct?
That's right. That's
Do
right.
you know why they chose it that way? Do you know why they thought that the full department um, should be voted? I mean, should be audited?
I think it's a combination of some things they hear,
Okay,
like legitimate issues that they hear about. I
I
don't
got
think
you.
they realize it that it. I don't think they realize that in order to address what they hear, it turns into a department-wide audit.
Okay, I got you. I got you. I'm really want to get through the process, and you are really helping me today. I mean,
Oh, good.
nothing new I've learned except about the David Lynn part. The other thing that you definitely helped me. Something new today was about the analysts. I have been focused with the process. I really don't want to get into any individual, but it helps me to know that the analysts are hired, how they are fired, who decides, and what the case might be. But that is, they may be completely incompetent, but the process of hiring and firing and what it costs in terms of time allocated towards training, wasted time, things not being, that is the important thing. Now, when you are having issues with those analysts, is there anyone you could talk to?
I've had multiple conversations with, Mayor Denson. I mean, multiple conversations. And some of the commissioners, they kind of were a little harsh. They would say, if they can't cut it, let them go. And I just really wanted to give them an opportunity. I tried to coach them up, and, they kind of went along with it. And then they kind of tired out.
Well, in a way, you did well because you gave them the training to have the jobs they're doing right now. And I'm sure, hopefully, they're happy and enjoying it because that means all your time was not wasted. It was worth it. You didn't benefit out of it, but the managers or the department head is doing it. So there's a couple of areas I want to get to because I get scared that you might suddenly take off on me.
No. Let me share this one last thing. So over the 4 or 5 years, and I advertised 2 times for an analyst, and in between the two advertisements, 92 people submitted an application, and HR only sent me 5. And when I tell you there are diamonds in the rough, I mean, my interns were undergrad students and they were
Yeah,
fantastic.
they were better than that.
I did not have to coach them up. They came
Okay.
ready with no
Hold on one second.
experience.
Give me 3 minutes. I'm going to write some of this because if I forget, I'll kick myself. Hold on one second.
Oh, absolutely.
I remember everything you've said, but I want to make sure I remember the points. So we talked about the analyst, uh, audit committee beginning, uh, um, and those were the two things. Okay, how the analysts are fired, hired. Uh, okay, and okay. Yeah, okay. No, that's a very good point about them. Maybe there is a way to figure out how to make the interns a little more valuable down the road. Maybe give them interns means. Did you try to offer a job to the girl who's
Oh my
leaving?
gosh. I offered to double their salary. But
Oh,
they're
she
just,
graduated. Can
they're
she?
just so focused on school. They didn't want to separate it. They didn't want to have to do both, jobs. I mean, they're really good students. Both are in the honors program. The gentleman that worked for me, he was the graduating #1 student in the Terry College of Business. I didn't
That's
even know that they
incredible.
tracked that information.
But they're not graduated yet, right? They haven't
Well, he
graduated.
did. He graduated and he's starting his first year in law school. And the,
Oh,
and
he's
the
going to
gal,
law school.
she's a senior.
And what about her?
She's a senior.
Oh, okay. They cannot take the jobs right now.
No experience with auditing. No, I mean, before that, no interest. They became very interested. They were engaged. They were independent by the end of the summer. It tells me that if you really just jumped into it, you can do it.
Yeah.
if you were open and willing, because these two young kids, 20 and 21, had no interest. I mean, they don't even have an interest in going into it when they graduate.
That's the new generation. My daughter and her friends, they gone are the days they look for career. They're looking what is fun right now and can I live off it? And that is all they're looking for, especially if they are on their parents' health insurance till they are 26. And that's how my daughter just came off our insurance about 1 week ago. 1 week ago today. So it is. I mean, they are doing things that they want to do right now. They don't see the world like they were raised differently. They're raised in a different world. The world today is more temporary, more intransient all the time. You and I grew up. Well, I grew up one generation ahead of you, but it's even your generation is definitely looking for some long-term stability, and also they're young. Once they turn into early 30s, or who knows, they might start seeing things a little differently. Now, tell me something from what you see, not primarily the audit committee, but also what is the mayor and commission's relationship with the department heads who report to the manager? Do they reach out to department heads? Do they have any power over them? Do they hold the budget over their head? How do they do it?
Okay, so the manager controls that,
I
and
understand that.
he does not want them to. He is very clear and adamant that he does not want them to develop relationships. And he kind of communicates that on the director side. And so there's just no avenue for a commissioner to just, hey, reach out and say, I'm looking for, where do I need to go for a permit? Um, there's a little fear and a little hostility from departments because of what has been communicated. So commissioners, I think they've just kind of picked up on it, and they don't. By default, you can read between the lines, and I just think that
Right, right. I
it's
mean, the
fair to
manager
go to
can
the
say
manager.
whatever they want. I understand that. Manager wants to be involved, everything. They feel insecure. They have their people they like. Sometimes there are people they don't like. Setting that aside, what would, for example, stop Ovita Thornton or Melissa Link to reach out to the department head of water office or transportation and just say, hey, tell me what's happening in your department, what is going on, are there any issues that we are not resolving that the mayor could do or whatever you're not getting support for from the manager. You're telling me that's not happening. Why can't they
No,
just,
no,
why,
no, no.
anyone can reach out to anyone?
Absolutely not.
Okay. And why do you think that is not happening?
Let me see. Hold on. Let me see if anybody else is on the call. Hold on 1 second. So it's just still me and you. So the manager has made it very clear he does not want to be caught off guard. He wants to know everything that's going
No,
on.
I understand that. I respect that very much. That is totally fine. What I'm asking is, that's right. He can tell his people, you don't have to do that. What is there to stop the mayor to reach out to someone?
Him, the manager,
But
he has
the
actually communicated that to them.
but
If
the
you have a
manager
question, you need to come to me.
but the manager reports to the mayor. So the mayor and the commission.
Well, Hunay, he has indirect. I will say this: I have seen him over the last 3 years become a policymaker in a very savvy, smooth way. I mean, like he's convincing and
I
almost
got you.
so well that he makes it sound like it's their idea.
I got you. I got you. That's very good. But that tells me more about the commission than it tells me about the manager.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you
That
have a combination of 10 people, and some of them, okay, so let's think about the meetings. So I will share this with you. We all received the agenda packet for the Tuesday meeting on the Friday before the Tuesday at 4 p.m. And when I say they're anywhere from 200 to 400 pages, it is almost an effort to make someone overwhelmed, and no one's going to read it over the weekend. So some try to read, I would say 20. Are you familiar with the Pareto principle, like the 80-20 rule?
Generally speaking, 80,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so about 20% of the commissioners, about two or three, will
Yes,
peruse and read, kind of like thumb through it. And then you have like
absolutely.
two that'll read it. And then you have six that won't even touch it because it's just too much. It's too much reading. And so what happens is they're not prepared to make decisions and vote confidently, and they are a little quiet about it. And they really do want to be more engaged, but they're overwhelmed. And I just shared with one of the commissioners who asked, like, what can I do about it? I said, all you have to do is just ask, can we just receive this report sooner? I mean, if you really want to be engaged,
Um, yeah, they don't want to be and the managers usually are very smart to know what every commissioner has one agenda, and they try and help them with their agenda so the commissioners don't care about anything else.
right.
And that's how generally the world is cruel, and that's how it works. But I see, to me, it's very little about the manager. It's all, you're telling me more and more about the commissioners right now, and that is not good. Uh, Nothing is
And
sounding good.
there's a lot of people in the community that are starting, like before we had COVID, there were a lot of people who started coming to the meetings and coming up to the podium to make comments, and they started calling commissioners out. And I was like surprised. I mean, they would say stuff like, if you don't start doing your job, you might not be here next year. You're up for a reelection. I mean, they were respectful and they weren't nasty, but they were just like, you tend to be quiet and you don't have an opinion, and this is really important to the entire community. And I just like, wow, I mean, there's some brave folks that really want to see
I'm trying
democracy
to
happen.
I'm trying to understand. Let's say the manager does want everything to be filtered through him. That's fine. When the commissioners, if 10 commissioners have heard 10 things and they all go to the manager and say, can you explain, or what happened, what the department head doing? How does the manager have time to do anything else? Or is that all he's basically doing is just handling the commissioners and the department's head, which is actually a huge job, very big job. But it's that, how does the manager have time to do all this?
Oh, it's not that hard. That's all he does. I mean, he doesn't prepare or write reports or crunch any numbers. I mean, he meets with people all day, and not all day, but most of the
Yeah.
day, I would say.
Well, that
And
should be the manager's job. In my view, it's all about people. Once you
yeah,
get to the
and he shared that with me a long, long time ago. Because I said, I'm reluctant to just stop by because I know you're really busy. And he just started laughing. And this was like in 2014. And he said, Stephanie, I don't work that hard. Like my directors do all the work, and it was like, really? So it was
But
a
actually,
pleasure.
oh, no, no, that is good. And I see that as a positive in some way. I mean, we don't like the fact that he's policy making and he's made commissioners. Maybe he's doing that. But the manager, the department head should be doing a lot of this stuff and only coming to the manager for little things. Manager should not be micromanaging. But in some way, it sounds like the manager is micromanaging how the heads are going about doing their job. They're not. He's not micromanaging. Oh, how are the rates, and who sets the rates, and who's the person who's going to do the complaint? But he's managing, that who should be addressing the one issue after the other, and
That's right.
maybe that is good. Maybe some of it is good. The issue really is not you or the manager. It is. So let me ask you this. This is a personal question. You sure no one else is on the line?
Yes, I'm looking at the participant window right now. So it's just you and me for now.
Okay. So what keeps you going at this job? I mean, why? take a job where your boss, the way I see it is your boss is the audit committee. Why they are not very, don't seem to be as supportive.
I agree, 100%. You know, the thing is, I never really believed in the concept that one could love their job. I just never believed in it. And I think I've had three jobs since graduating from college and just, varied positions. And when I started this position, it was a culmination of all the things that I've learned over 20 years. And it was I mean, I just love it, the stuff that I do. I feel
Okay.
I'm a lifelong student. I love research. I love reading, learning. I love talking to people. And I love,
So you're loving the job, and obviously you like Athens for all the reasons we know.
I love my parents. I wouldn't say I love Athens, but I love my parents. I came back to Athens because
I
my
know.
brother's really sick. And
Yeah.
my brother had just started a family, and his kids were just growing
Okay.
exponentially. Every time I came home, they were different. They
Yeah.
looked different. And so I just came home. Um,
Have you ever looked for anything at the university or the private sector here in Clark County?
I have, when I first moved here, I
Not
did, but I just
okay.
couldn't find anything. It was really tough because I was coming from the West Coast and I had a really great resume and I had a really highly technical job that people, that I interviewed with didn't quite understand what I did. And some were intimidated. And I think two people told me directly, I don't want to hire you because I'm afraid you'll take my job. Two other people told me who interviewed me at least two separate times, told me that I don't want to hire you because I want to take you out. I became very frustrated, and you know what I had to end up doing after a year and a half of being I was unemployed for a year in Seattle, and then I was unemployed
Mhm.
for a year and a half here. But the only way I got a job, Hunaid, I just now don't tell nobody. This is between me and you. I had to reduce my salary by 2/3, and
Wow.
I had to simplify the task that I used to do to make it super generic so it didn't come off intimidating and I made myself sound like an average person. And as soon as I did that, I got three phone calls and I got three offers just like that. And I'm telling you, I never became depressed being laid off because I was laid off during the economic decline.
Right.
But I never got depressed. But I got depressed when I realized that the only way I could work was to decrease my salary by 2/3
Mm.
and
That's tough.
reduce my skill level.
And
And that was hard. I couldn't be smart. I could not be innovative. I couldn't share my opinions. How dare I think outside the box? And that was
I
hard.
I understand that. I hear you.
It took
That's
me about
that's
5 years to just get comfortable with myself in that environment.
well, you went through an extraordinarily difficult time and have come out standing up after taking so many knocks. I don't know how you did it. I wouldn't be able to do it. That is amazing. Your personal story is just so moving and incredible, and how much pain you have had to go through to get to
Yeah,
that,
it was
that
tough.
stuff. But I'm glad to see there is something that like you said, you love the job, even though the city may not be great, the working environment is not great without the support of the committee, without the support of the commissioners. But the work you do, the looking at things and working with people, that part you seem to be okay with, and that's what you.
Yeah, I really am. I'll tell you, I love my job. I love what I do every single
Yeah,
day. And me being from Athens, it is so important to me to make a difference. It is
yeah,
so important to me to
Even if you
tell
don't
the
love
real
that,
story.
even if you don't love the city, that is saying something.
I mean, I've had so many people come up to me and say, aren't you the auditor? Thank you for telling the truth. Thank you for telling the truth. Thank you for not being afraid to tell the real story. And I'm like, you're up. Like, I'm shocked. Like, how did you know? And they were like, I see you on TV. And, it's a nice, you
Yeah.
know, feeling because it is hard work. I mean, it is, even though I love it, it's hard as heck, but I don't mind hard work at all. I don't. But I just never knew that people were following me, like keeping up with me and my progress. I have so many citizens that don't get when they contact different areas of the government, and they just don't get anywhere or they get discouraged. I have so many citizens kind of look at my office as the information line. Like, where do you go to get a handgun permit? Or I tried to submit an open records request, but I haven't heard anything. And
Yeah.
so I get calls like that every week, and I think my experience in a couple of departments, me
Yeah.
understanding the financial system and all of the department heads, I feel like I'm an excellent resource, and so I embrace it, and I just tell them, this is how you're going to be successful with your open records request. Just don't do this. It's nice to have an audience. So why don't you copy somebody else? Because if you copy somebody else, you'll probably get what you need. Just don't send it to one person because yeah, it could be ignored.
Well, if you go into management training and skills development, you could be a city manager someplace. If not Athens, maybe a little smaller town, or
I thought
without
about that too.
without a big university or something like that, like a Jackson County or Oglethorpe County or Madison County, you could easily be that. Just need to, or you'll have to develop some of those more people skills, but you have to be you have to start doing what the manager does, less
Yes.
interested in doing detailed work that you're enjoying so much, and actually enjoy more conversations, kind of like we're talking, like when you had talked with them and whatever. So that's it. Well, this has
I
been.
think I would enjoy that too, actually.
Pardon me.
I think I would actually enjoy that too. I
Yeah,
think he and I do the same job in a sense. I mean, he is
yeah,
I'm making sure he's aware of the operations and what's going on and the needs. And I think that I look at the operations and what areas need improvement. And so it's very similar. He doesn't think it's similar, but I think it's very similar. And I wish we could work together. The previous manager before he retired, he
yeah.
surprised me, and he would come down to my office often, and he would just say, hey, what's going on, how do you feel about this? He asked me for advice. He made me feel
Yeah.
very comfortable. And he would, if I didn't attend a meeting, he would come look for me and say, why didn't you come to the meeting this morning? Like it was welcoming, and it was
Well, you're going to meet that next manager, maybe like that.
yeah.
It takes. No one manager is going to be a lifetime. Although Alan Reddish here was a very, very long time before he retired, and Snipes was a manager for a while. So,
Yeah. Hmm.
so that will. Yeah, I mean, and the key to being moving up in management really is. I mean, you could take over as a department head someplace. Without knowing totally, maybe not the sheriff's office or something, but there are other departments. But it's really then becomes more about people and process than for this. So you have both those areas that you work with, then about technical information, the statistics and data that you cannot get yourself involved with anymore. So you have to look at things at a much higher plane. Uh,
Yeah.
if you get to that, but you have to evolve to that point. You have to get to that point and say, yeah, here I am. And so there. Well, what else can you tell me? I've written down the key areas. What else can you tell me that might be, let's see. Uh, Basically, what you're saying is things take long because you didn't have proper staff and you didn't have the software that you needed to be able to manage it and to keep it. But the way I look at it is, you put in so many extra hours, you kind of make up for being able to, uh, you put in so much extra time every day. Like you said, one time you're putting in 1,000 extra hours over time. Um,
Yeah.
I'm just beginning to feel that the audit committee doesn't know exactly what is going on, and they don't know how supportive is the overall commission. Not looking at any individual commissioner. How supportive is the overall commission to the audit committee? Is the audit
I have
committee
no
saying,
idea. And
well,
I'll be
no,
honest with you, I think it goes, I think this is the root of the problem. I think the majority of the commission do not understand the
exactly.
function of the auditor
You got it.
and the independence.
I
That
don't want
is,
to tell you this. I did not want to tell you this, but that's a part of my report. Absolutely.
they just don't
Yes.
understand.
Well,
And
who do you
some
blame
of them
that
have
for?
said
Well,
that blame is
yeah,
my
you and I
boss.
are together. So I'm asking you now, who do you blame that for?
You know, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but when I develop relationships with commissioners independently, and I support them, and like let's say they have a project or if they have a concern, on a side I would provide research and pull reports, and I'll just hand it to them. I mean, I don't review it with them, but I hear that you're concerned, and I'll pull a report. I have been told by commissioners that the manager has discouraged them from having a relationship with me, that if they need anything, don't come to me, that he'll provide them with whatever they need, and I don't understand that.
No, no, no. I get it. I get that part. I'm just asking you, who who do you fault for the commission? This falls under mayor and commission not understanding you, what you do, your function, your relationship with the manager, their relationship with the manager. Who do you fault this lack of understanding on?
I just don't know how to explain it differently except for maybe giving you a scenario. So when we were meeting in person, like the audit committee meetings, so there's Robert's Rules of Order where you have, if you're not on the committee, you don't sit at the table, you sit around the table, or like around the room.
Right, gotcha.
Right. And so on occasion, Alan or Mayor Denson would come to the meetings, but it was maybe like once every 3 or 4 months. That's it. Um, the manager and his entire staff comes to the meetings. Now, in addition to that, he constantly interrupts every single uh, agenda item. And there were several meetings where he would slam the table, he would lose his cool. And what happened, the 5 committee members, so you have 2 that don't like conflict, they would shut down. So that prevented us from having a quorum and moving forward. You would have 2 that are watching their clock. They're watching their watches now.
Who
So
are
it's
these?
ready to go.
Who are these two?
Like the committee, like the 5 commissioners who are on the audit committee.
Right.
So
Who are
I'm
the
just
ones
having a
who just
generic
hate
update.
conflict?
Hmm?
Who are the ones who hate conflict?
No, this was the previous committee. So
Oh, it's
they
a
are
previous.
chosen every 2 years.
Okay, okay.
So he would just make a scene and he would make me feel, and I don't know if you remember this from my comments, he would make me feel incompetent. And I would do so much research before the audit committee meetings. And he would stand up and he would hit the table and he would say, if there was a problem, I would know something about it. And
Right.
Stephanie, if there was this, that, and the third, I would know. And he would be so, gregarious and
But
so
Stephanie, no,
mean.
no, I'm not playing devil's advocate at all. I really am not. You may think I am when I ask the next question or some other question. He's doing what maybe I would have done. Probably not, but maybe I would have done. I'm asking you, you came, you gave your answer to the mayor and commission, whether it's the audit committee or the full commission or whatever. Your job is done then. They can do whatever they want.
No, but what happened is they were shut down, and then the meeting
Okay.
would end early.
Okay, so that they decided what they want to do. I mean, that is not your why do you feel that aspect is your problem?
Well, let me tell you,
Happy with
because
you. They are
there's
happy with you.
there's
They
a
haven't
my,
they haven't canceled your contract, so they are seemingly happy with you. So my question is, you have done your job the way I see it. You
well,
present.
I see. The thing is, I feel like I could be more valuable to them if they would let me be independent, like
But
the
they
charter
won't. But they
says.
won't. So you're trying to do more than your job, maybe. Would you agree?
No, I'm just trying to be independent. And here's an example. One
Okay.
meeting, I was presenting information about the credit card program, this
Okay.
purchasing card and travel card. And I
Okay.
was talking about the level of risk. I
Okay.
was talking about a report that I saw and then verified that there were some anomalies. And I drilled down and I talked to finance, and it was indeed theft going on. So I presented that data to the audit committee and I asked, would you consider an audit of this program? And the manager lost his cool. But a month later, who made an employee and a vendor were arrested. And initially, it was discovered that they had a scheme going, but the vendor and a purchasing card, and they were caught over a certain period of time. The theft amount was $156,000. They investigated that case for over a year, and I am told that it's upwards over $1 million over a 5-year period.
Right.
See, I know the financial system. There are about 10 of us in the entire government out of 1,650 people that really understand the financial system. So I know how to drill down
No, no, no.
and
I
find
understand
those
that part.
anomalies.
I want to get back to the process because what you say is very, very important. And it's a very good example. Okay. Once they found out that there is a problem there, and that's it. At that time, what did the mayor and commission or the audit committee who came up with this, what was their attitude about auditing that function?
They did not. The manager made it appear that that person was, swiftly fired, and the issue is a non-issue.
Okay, so
He
that's
did
fine.
not report how much that person stole.
I got it. And so the manager did that, and the commission accepted that, right?
They did.
They did. Your job is done. So see what's happening as I see it. This has nothing to do with my report or anything like that. You are trying to be what an ideal auditor for a county would be, whether you're reporting to the manager, whether you are reporting to the mayor and commission, or you're an outside agency who's been hired to just provide a report. If the mayor and commission is not interested, the only thing that should matter is that information is in the newspaper, which it was, and let them in. People should be known, and the newspaper should be known that the mayor and commission neglected to do an audit for it. That's it. I mean, you cannot take, as sometimes all of us go through this, but it's called the Jesus syndrome. You cannot take on the burden of the entire county on yourself. Even though 156,000 divided by 150,000 residents, we all paid a
Yeah.
dollar. We all paid a dollar for it. And if it was a million, that means we all paid $10 for it. So the thing is, that is why we have that commission. And if this has nothing to do with the audit committee or report. You should not
Yeah.
take that burden. You did what you could. Hey, you should be having what I call a shitty laughter, a shitty grin, and saying, "Hey, I have told us so." That's it.
I get it. I get it.
I said, "I have told us so." You guys didn't want it. Good. You and the manager and the newspaper and the citizens and the commission work on it. And if they don't want to work on it, it's their city's loss, and you guys pulled a fast one on them. Absolutely. So now, when did this incident happen? 2 years ago, right? It was before this commission.
February 14th, 2018.
Okay, so this audit committee wasn't even involved.
That's right.
Was anyone from this audit committee back there then?
No. This is Beth. Let me take the call.
Tell her I was still waiting for her.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's going on. Let me see what she said. Hi. I'm great. I just have the WebEx open, so I was just wondering because I thought it moved to 4 o'clock. Okay. Mm-hmm. Sure. You want to give me a call tomorrow? Yeah, I do. Just give me a shout tomorrow. I'll be available. I was surprised. I know there were some very disappointed. I know there were a lot of people who put a lot of work in. And I know that I understand the frustration. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it is a lot of work for 11 versus 21. Mm. Mm-hmm. Hmm. That's too bad. Yeah. 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 Mm. Right. Mm-hmm. That's right. You put everything into it. Yeah. Well, I'm available all day tomorrow. I mean, I'll be working, of course, but I'm the only one in the office, so I'm available. Yeah. Well, I hope to. I hope to next week. I really do. I need it, and I want to take some time off. So, that's the plan. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And you did good. I mean, it's not easy. Yeah, that'd be fine. Yeah. Oh no, I haven't. I've seen the updates, but I've not seen the whole. So if you want to put it in a notebook, if you want to bring it by the office, then I can catalog it and index it for you, like you did with the other commission. Or I can give you the notebooks and an industrial hole puncher. And I think it punches like 50 pages at a time. I mean, it's excellent. I mean, you can do it either way. Yeah, I think. Oh, yeah, it's always nice to have both the electronic and hard copy. Just for the office. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they all, I mean, obviously we have tapes and we have lists of stuff that John collected. We have been, and I have recordings. Like we didn't film our meetings before COVID, but we do have recordings that we catalog and index. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really a good idea. I think it makes a lot of sense with COVID, and I think the commission's work is important to the community because they're local residents that will tell a different story from employees. And I think it's more genuine, and I think that as an employee, you're more compelled to please somebody, if it's a supervisor or a political person. And I think residents just are naturally truthful. So I think there's a lot of value, and I think that I shared an update with Commissioner Lee, and she was quite disappointed. She was looking forward to your work, but I did say the caveat is they're ruminating over in recommending another commission in 2 years, and so she said that's a good idea, and so that was all. But I think she would support that idea if you decided as a commission to do that. And 2 years is a great time because it's not too long. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, just figuring it out as you go is not easy. Mhm. You know, if everything does wins the DA, I'm going to ask for her. I think I'm going to just do a 20-minute presentation. I mean, not that, assuming that I will be the administrative support again, but just, I have knowledge of it and I've read the reports. Mm-hmm. And, mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, just give me a shout anytime. Yeah, she was so interested in the same final report. I mean, she likes progress, so, but she was excited to hear that you're considering, recommending 2 years. So, I provide a 3 to 5 minute update. They just like to hear, what's going on, if you need any support, if you have any problem, what you're focusing on, and that's it. It's probably not even 3 minutes, but, they just want to know how things are going. And if it's smooth. Mhm. Right. Hmm. You hit that on the head. You hit that on the head. I could share with you some stuff tomorrow that they missed because they've gotten so used with the staff, they've gotten so used with the office that they're not sharp. They're not as sharp as they used to be. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Tell me about it. I can share some stuff with you tomorrow that I knew I knew about, and I was hoping that they would discover it if they did a thorough job, but it wasn't the case. And stuff ended up in the paper, theft and fraud and all that stuff about 2 years later. All right, sounds good. I'll be ready. I didn't see it because I was looking for the agenda and I was scrolling through everybody's calendar thinking it was on the wrong calendar. I asked her, what are you doing that for? Why? That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Doing the right thing. That's right. Well, I can't wait to get where you are one day. Oh. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's happening all over the place. I've been quite surprised. Hmm. Well, that's right. So good. That's right. Hmm. That's right. Okay, sounds great. You too, Beth. Bye bye. Nate, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, not at all. That's a tough call. Beth is feeling bad and she
She
should.
is. She really is.
But she bought it. I mean, I really like Beth, and I more than forget like. It's not about liking. I respect the way she was strong in her personality, but she allowed four people to go haywire, who just cannot say no, that this is not done. And those four, I totally blame on them. Timothy, Joe, Gail Cowie, maybe Brandy a little bit. They they want to. They don't understand. And like Joe said, he's never worked done anything like this in his life. And he's leading the whole commission into writing the charter and writing. It's
Uh-huh.
her fault. It's her entire fault. She brought it to this point, or not, she did not bring it. She allowed this to happen. You're supposed to set up subcommittees just like mine was, and I did with the PIO, with the auditor, with the Office of Operational Analysis. We do the work. Doesn't mean we are going to do it all right. Once we do it, then we write a report, a simple report, so that the mayor commission can read it, and then that's it. Our work is done. I mean, 2 months were gone. People got exhausted line by line on every single committee. It's not how it's done. And I can see why John quit. I was totally with everything John said. But, I understand Beth. She wanted to make sure everyone got their say. And
Yeah, and she said that. She just said, I don't have a say, but I really wanted everybody to have a
that's a
say.
mistake. These are not, some of these people are, there were, I think, basically, as I see, there were three people who got it. There were four who were leading the rest, and then the rest were just going wherever they were being led to. Oh, Mumbi, she was another one of the problem ones. She wanted to get into this emergency management. These are not things we can do. Those five were had no idea what it takes to do this and how it should be gone about doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? No, yeah, those five were the problems for me. And
Yeah.
of the remaining people, some people did nothing, like Paul Bunce, who's on my committee, and Frank Platt. Frank is more interested to tell everyone he's on 25 boards. He never did anything. He had no interest in doing it. He just liked the idea of being there and people asking him questions. Great. He's a great person. My neighbor has worked with him tremendously. They know each other very well. And he's done a lot of good work. But for the committee, he was useless. Uh, and there were a couple of other people
Mm-hmm.
did nothing. Roy, I mean, none of these people ever did anything except sit around and yes or no, and wanted to give speeches or whatever. She did not know how to. She did not realize that if you let people loose, this can happen.
You
Those
remember
five
that night that Roy just started talking and he wouldn't stop? You remember that
was
night?
hilarious. He was all about it.
It was.
I felt bad for Roy. He wanted to talk all about himself. And, there are people in this world who are very lonely. And I'm sorry, I would love to get together over a drink. I'll buy him a beer and he can tell me all his troubles while I hit up the girl sitting on the other side. But that's it. I to sit there in the committee, she just lets him on. Beth is a strong person. She manages well. She works hard, but she just lets everyone loose.
Mm,
I mean, I would make a horrible committee chair, but I would do better than that.
yeah.
But I would put a stop. I'd say I cannot see this cannot be done because people don't have an idea. And I still go back to what I mentioned to you right at the beginning. When I sent the mayor did not help out. Mayor could have said, "Okay, let me get together with people informally, find out what areas they would like, come back here." They would have given 5 or 6 departments. We would have all split up, looked at those, and submitted the thing. They did not want to do that. He did not want to interfere, which is fine. He's on the bets plan, Oh, how we
Yeah.
look. You can't worry if you could just worry about how that you're stopping someone from talking. You're going to get a lot of idiots doing all the talking. And
Yeah.
I stayed out of all committees. Except the one I did think that one committee we got approved. The idea was good. We gave them something, not this much detail. It dragged out, and then I chaired the two committees that I was very interested in. Uh, Audit and the PIO, which I think is a very valuable function. I know it's a very well functioning department, very politically run. I understand that, but that's not my job to find out. My job is to look at, is the process working? You know, and but Beth had, she just didn't know.
Yeah.
She should be feeling bad. I hope she is feeling bad.
She really did sound really bad. Like kind
Yeah.
of more not bad, but sad.
Well, she should be feeling sad. Now, what
But
is
I
that
think it
I
was from
heard?
a place that she wanted, success from the commission, and she wanted the commission to be happy, and she wanted the commission to complete something important. And I think that was the
Well,
overarching feeling she
that's
had.
a mistake. You can't have the commission that's happy and produce something good. And
Mm,
you can't make everyone happy. That's a conflict right there. You're starting off the wrong foot.
yeah.
Now, what is that I overheard you? Who's interested in doing this again in a couple of years?
Commissioner Link, she was
Who?
really disappointed, like, aren't they doing a lot of work? She said, well, why are there only two committees that have been approved all
Well,
this time? She said,
I'll
that's
tell her.
quite surprising.
I know, I heard her, and I'll tell her the same thing I'm telling you, and you're welcome to quote me on it. I don't care. I'm going to be, but I promise you, except for two other people, Mumbai is now elected to the school board, and maybe one other person. I don't. Ellen does a little bit of work for the community. I don't expect to see any of these idiots out there. They're all going to be gone. They're all into their own world. There are very few people who believe in civic duty consistently. And you can tell Commissioner Lake, and I'll tell her that. You can quote me on it. 4 or 5 people, Beth allowed 5 people to lead the entire commission around. And after a while, John just about had it. I am totally with John. And
I could
now
tell, I could see his frustration growing. I did see that.
yeah, and I could say, yeah, I wasn't frustrated because I wasn't putting anything in it except for what I was going to get out. And I knew, even if no one else did, I'm going to put out my report, and a commissioner gets it, they will do nothing, and that's fine. That is fine. And I will definitely also send it to a couple of media outlets if they don't. But now I don't have to worry about it because they're going to have an audit committee, and media is always looking at these, so that's fine. So, but that's it. My job is just to make sure, as a member of commission, that this is what we see. It may be wrong, but they look at it. But she just wasted 3 months, and because of the pandemic, it should be even more focused. Now, the one thing came out very well. Instead of going at department to department, we said, let's look at some focus areas. That was okay.
Yeah.
Except it's not how it's done. You just let the committees do the work. And Stephanie Lynn is very hardworking. So she had the right idea. She
Yeah.
absolutely, she had the right idea. I totally felt her frustration. She's a
Mhm.
workhorse.
She
Mm.
is. She really is.
And the others were just not. These 5 people pulled it in the wrong direction. Mumbai, Joe, uh, Timothy, Gail, and Brandy a little bit.
Hmm.
They had some idea that every department should be looked in every detail. Like they made it about themselves. That's where I had a problem. So, but this is very good for me. I definitely. Uh, I mean, the problem is so self-evident. Even to me, the recommendation is fairly evident. But you'll just have to wait uh, when we give the report. And although I will mention this to you. I wasn't going to. I will say this to Melissa, although she probably won't agree, and I'm quite okay with it. I don't think you or the manager should be in on that meeting because it is about his department being audited and you being the auditor. It should be just me talking to them. But
You
uh,
know what? I respect that, and you know what? I will. I don't have a problem stepping out of the office for about for your presentation
no, but it's
because
it's on live stream, so the whole city can come in. So I mean, hmm,
I
how
don't
much?
I don't look at those live streams, Hunaid. I mean, I rarely go on Facebook.
No, no, but I mean, anyone in the whole city can be looking at it. So no reason for you or the manager to step out. It doesn't matter. Either it's like like a WebEx meeting by invitation, or everyone can listen.
hmm
That's just my view that we are talking about the auditor auditing the managers department. They should not be there. Same reason like when you are giving them recommendations, the manager and his teams come there, and even if they don't say anything, them being there, it just creates the tension, which I'm quite okay because they cannot fire me, they cannot hire me. There's nothing I'm getting out of it other than I'm doing my job, which I'm getting a lot out of. But uh, it shouldn't be like that. So I'm going to say, just let you know that I will suggest to Melissa Link that instead of if they want to, we can get together an hour earlier or something like that, or maybe a day earlier, and
Yeah.
just do a WebEx with the audit committee, and or meet in person. I don't mind meeting in a outdoor place and talk about it. I'm very careful about the virus, so I don't go inside any rooms, and I don't like to go inside rooms wearing the mask because I can never understand others. They cannot understand me. So I will make that suggestion. Maybe we meet someplace, but if they don't, do it out of the house. Do it over WebEx, and let what's his name, Jeff's or the person who works for him set us up a WebEx meeting with no one else and go
Do you
from
have Commissioner Link's telephone number?
well, I'm going to send her a note and then I'll give her my number so she can call me anytime.
Okay, I was going to send it to you, but that's fine. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, she can call me anytime. That's fine. I'm okay with Melissa. I run into her often. So,
Okay.
yeah, I ran into her. She was very supportive of Deborah Gonzalez's campaign. So uh, that's what I run.
Yeah, I
And I
like
run,
Deborah. I
yeah,
think
and I
she's a
run into,
nice,
yeah.
smart woman.
Yeah, very hard. I respect her, And look, there are a couple of commissioners who I would say are friends, but I don't view them as what they're doing right. They work hard, but that doesn't mean they necessarily view things right. And
Yeah.
and and I think they'll have to take a look and see what they are doing. This is not about. I'll tell you right now, the way I see it's not about you or the manager as much. It can be a little bit about both of you.
Yeah.
The mayor and commission have to figure out that it's about them.
And I hear that at the podium a lot, from, some of the, advocates and some of the activists. I mean, there are a lot of individuals who are highly engaged. It's almost impressive. I
Who are
mean,
you
they
talking
come
about?
to meetings and they're prepared and they follow commissioners' track record.
No, no. Who are
And
you
they
talking about?
just activists in the community before COVID,
Oh,
just various people, and they are seemingly tracking commissioners' records, and they are engaged, and they're more engaged in policy. Way more, I mean, the appearances they're more engaged in policy than some of the commissioners.
Commissioner, I totally believe that. two commissioners are not coming back. They couldn't give a hoot what's going on. Two of them are totally into their own agendas. It's and seeing, oh, how does this affect my district? Auditing shouldn't be like that. So the commissioners are going to hear about what our recommendation is. Now, what I'm grappling with right now, personally, on this is I don't know how to. I'll just have to evolve. I have no idea what will happen 4 weeks from now when we get together. But the two people on my committee are Joe and Brandy, and I don't know how much to involve them. How much? If I come by myself, it's that report is almost meaningless. If I don't have their blessings, it's meaningless. But what I'm thinking I'll do is I'll see how different Brandy's sort of with me. Joe, is on his own world. He wants to put all this in the charter. Everyone's a waste of time. But anyway, I may add that to make him happy, to look like we are coming across. Ellen is part of the committee. Um, she, yeah, it is, you know, she just wants to go and scold the manager. That's not going to do anything. Nothing is going to change like that. Got to change the process. Not scolding someone, or not telling someone. Nothing is going to change. So I'm grappling. I'll talk with Melissa. Maybe she will. Maybe she can advise me how to go about. I was going to ask Beth, but Beth is, Beth doesn't like to do much without the support of the committee. I'm learning about Beth. She's very good at chair, but she just needs everyone's support to feel like she's doing the job, which is probably true.
Well, I would share this with you right before we hung up. She actually shared that she was most disappointed with your work group because she felt like it was one of the most important areas for the government to hear. And so, she said, I just don't know what to do about the auditing work group because I just think that's the most
Yep.
important.
She's
She
on
said,
my group.
I'm so frustrated about that.
No, she's on my. She doesn't know yet. Okay, she's been out of the loop that I will be presenting it to the audit committee.
You might want to invite her. She has some comments. She's been tracking some numbers, and
I'm going to tell her right now. As soon as we hang up, I'm going to send her an email. I just want you to know she's with me on that. She is with me that she's got some idea. Yeah, that is the problem. Is that this is on day one? I said if we had the perfect structure for the auditor, overview commission is irrelevant. I still stand by it.
Yeah.
And I see her. I'm going to write to her right now, and then I'll talk to her if she needs to.
Yeah, she really said that your work group was to her
Did you
most valuable.
Did you mention to her that we are meeting that Melissa made this?
No.
Okay.
I haven't said it to anybody but Commissioner Link.
Yeah, that's a public knowledge, so that's not anything what we call impertinent or anything.
Well, Lunate, let me share something with you. Just because of my profession, I rarely share anything because I don't want anybody to ask me questions, so I rarely share. I'm more of a listener, and so if I get to talking, it opens up the door for people to ask me questions. And as an internal auditor, I collect secrets for a living, and so I just usually listen. But she said your work group was the most important to her. She just said that on the phone. So it'd be worth calling or emailing.
So what?
I said, she said that your work group was the most important to her. And she actually she's made some statements over the year, like maybe over the 7-8 months about the auditing function and how she can't wait for it to develop And she said
Well,
it was the most important, just now before we hung up,
yep.
she said it was the most important work, that she was disappointed that that the work could not be realized and no one was
No, no,
here.
no. It's going to be realized. She doesn't know that. She does not know that. So
Wow.
I'm going to send her an email right now. Matter of fact.
She'll be quite excited about that.
Oh, she will be. So, she's part of the group. Our ex officio on that group. She's totally part of it. Now, she doesn't have time to be sitting on every committee, as it is, reading every email. It's crazy for her. So, let me go ahead and do that, Stephanie, and I'm sure we'll be chatting again soon.
That's right, Hune. Talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks. Thanks
Bye.
for all the
It
info.
was great sharing with you.
I'll talk to you real soon. Bye.
Bye bye.